Hey, this is C&D channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my post-fight analysis for UFC Fight Night 70. Overall, there were some fights that were kind of stinkers, but other fights were good, and some pretty crazy knockouts too. Sims against Montgomery, Morata Santos versus Bassi, Larkin Ponzinibbio, and Romero versus Machida. All crazy knockouts there. My picks, I got 5 out of 9 correct. Not great. Not too bad, but not great. I gotta say, I felt that in hindsight, 3 of the ones I didn't pick right were pretty egregious. Like, in hindsight, it's like, why didn't I pick that guy? First was Larkin versus Ponzinibbio. I say that because I always pick Larkin to win fights. Like, I barely pick against this guy. And the one time I pick against him in a fight that I saw avenues for him to win and not get, like, out-wrestled or anything like that, I picked against him. That was stupid. Everyone was telling me to pick Antonio Carlos Jr. against Eddie Gordon. I refused. I look like an idiot. I think I got some crow here. I'm eating crow, you know. What the hell was I doing? I even acknowledge how crappy Eddie Gordon looked against Dempsey in his last fight. Oh, man. Yeah, that was a stupid pick there on my part. And Leandro Silva versus Luis Gonzalez. Just in hindsight, I didn't take into account just how sloppy Luis Gonzalez is and just how underdeveloped his striking game is. I thought that was egregious. And at the very least with Leandro Silva, he's been in the UFC, and for the most part, he knows how to win. And use his best tools to his advantage. Even though he did get reversed a couple times, nonetheless, I should have picked Leandro Silva there too. Bonuses. Thiago Morata Santos and Yoel Romero got performance of the night, while Larkin versus Ponzinibbio got fight of the night. So they got their $50,000 bonuses. Something to note, ATT did pretty well. I know guys like Steve Montgomery fight out of ATT and he lost. I know a couple of the Brazilians here actually were training at ATT and were more or less repping ATT from their win after their wins. Also, Brazilians fighting non-Brazilians did very well. Which is kind of funny because I was watching this with a friend and I was joking. It's like, oh, cool, Ponzinibbio versus Larkin's coming up. And it looks like Brazilians versus non-Brazilians are winning. Cool. I was like, oh, wait, Ponzinibbio's Argentinian. And he ended up losing. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, yeah. So that happened. Let's just get started. Yoel Romero defeated Lyoto Machida by knockout in the 3rd round as by elbows. First round was good. I felt Machida got the first round by playing his normal game. He kept distance. He kept moving around laterally. The smaller cage wasn't going to help him. But he kept moving laterally and, he was pot-shotting from the outside and whatnot. Did good. I believe that what happened, I felt that Romero made some adjustments, especially in the 2nd round. One adjustment he did is he likes to throw the left straight. He's southpaw and he throws that left straight a lot. But you'll kind of notice that he actually uses a lead right hook a lot. So, if Machida wants to go to his left, that could, Romero's actually using the lead right hook to kind of stop that. He was also using kicks pretty well. The other thing that Romero was doing, he was just cutting off the cage better by the second round. by the time the second round happened. And, and was really catching Machida with some hard shots. The athleticism from Romero is insane. He gets like the plum and goes for like a flying knee from there, and he jumps high. He went off some sort of he went off the cage for a Superman punch or something, and then goes for a takedown after that. I mean, this guy's athleticism is just off the charts. I contend that Romero is probably the best single athlete in the UFC, as far as just a guy that can, super fast twitch muscles, extreme physicality, ability to just do things that like others can't at like some crazy speed with crazy speed and power. One thing that's starting to be noticeable, and this goes for a lot of middleweights in general, is that Machida just can't compete with the physicality of these bigger middleweights. I mean, he hasn't fought Jacare yet, but that's one thing you'll notice. Like Yoel Romero, Chris Weidman, and Luke Rockhold. Those guys especially. But Jacare is really physical too. They all just use their strength. They're big for the weight class. And they're just really physical, They can definitely out-muscle a lot of their opponents a lot of times. And just be on their opponent. It's hard to make those guys really respect. It's really hard to get those guys' respect in the cage, Like, Machida hits Romero, he just keeps plodding forward. Romero hits Machida, and you can just see his body language is like, okay, I got hit. He tries to shrug it off or whatnot, but like you can visibly tell that it's different from Machida hitting Romero compared to Romero hitting Machida. At this point for Romero, there's really two options for him. He either give him the Jacare fight, which makes a lot of sense, or else you give him a title shot. I mean, there's really no one else for the guy to fight. He beat Tim Kennedy before this. Now he beat Machida. And the guys that are pretty much ahead of him, like Jacare, Weidman, Rockhold, that's the only guys he can really fight at this point. That he should be fighting. Yeah, he can fight like a Musashi, sure. He can fight the winner of Leites versus Bisping, sure. I don't really want to see it. I want to see Romero fight the elite middleweights, I'd like to see him fight Chris Weidman, too. No one matches Romero's athleticism. This guy is just a freak athlete. Once he gets Machida down, that ground and pound, it was just like done. It was just like, oh man, he got him down. Boom, 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 boom. A couple punches, elbows, elbow. Done. He's out cold. I was like, dang, man. With Machida, the sad reality of Machida is this. I think he's fought, except for Jacare, he hasn't fought like those top middleweights. And now when he's fighting top middleweights like Romero, Rockhold, Weidman, he's losing. You look at his record. He's on a 2-fight losing streak right now. But it's win 2, lose 1, win 2, lose 1, win 2, lose 1. There's a level of competition that Machida at this point just cannot beat. And it's sad to say, he's pretty much my favorite fighter at this point. But, he just can't beat certain level of competition anymore. He can't take a shot like he used to as well. With that said, I'd say give him the winner of Leites versus Bisping. I think that'd be a good fight for him. He's fought like everyone else. I guess you can give him like a Tim Kennedy maybe. Tim Kennedy Machida would be interesting at least too. Right after that, Lorenz Larkin defeated Santiago Ponzinibbio by TKO in the second round. I liked Larkin's technical striking. I also felt that he was clearly the bigger man in the cage. Good luck getting a single leg takedown on Lorenz Larkin, man. This guy, he's hard to get down with that single leg takedown. He has such good balance. He always bounces on his foot. Even when he was fighting like Francis Carmon, you can see him just like, Carmon gets a single, tries to drive him across the cage, and he doesn't go down. And it's so much harder for Ponzinibbio to even try to take Larkin down. I remember he had him pinned up against the cage. It's like, nah, he's not taking Larkin down. Like, he's just not. And it didn't happen. Ponzinibbio was more the aggressor, whereas Larkin was more the technical striker. There's a lot to like from Larkin's performance. I'm not big that he's a single strike puncher a lot of times, but he was showing some. There was actually some combinations that he was showing here, but a lot of times he's showing a lot of single strikes. Not the worst thing, honestly. He can definitely get away with that. But I just liked what I saw from him in this fight. He kept it technical. He was constantly moving. He did get in trouble in the second round against Ponzinibbio, but then he managed to knock out Ponzinibbio as well. I don't know if Ponzinibbio's ever been knocked out. That guy's chin is really good. The ref had to stop the fight when he was still standing. Ponzinibbio, really aggressive guy, really good chin, but Larkin's just better, much better on a technical level. He also had a good game with the leg kicks. Oh, those leg kicks. Ponzinibbio was eating a lot of leg kicks here. Good stuff from Larkin. Only 28 years old. He seems to be in the correct weight class now. I can see good things from him. I don't know where his ceiling lies. Does he beat Rick Story? Because I say that because, like, if you can beat Rick Story, you belong in the top 10. If you can't beat Rick Story, you don't belong in the top 10. Can he beat a guy like that? Can he beat a Ryan LaFleur? That type of, like, borderline fighter, that you beat like I said, I just said already, With that said, Larkin's on a 2-fight win streak. Definitely needs to step up in competition. Ponzinibbio's solid. Not great, but solid. And Larkin, 2 fights in welterweight, 2 finishes by strikes. I mean, this is a guy that's definitely doing work at this weight class. I'd say get him a step up. I don't know how high you want to go. Do you want to give him like the winner of Thats versus Gunnar Nelson? It's pretty high up there. That'd be a cool fight. Maybe you give him a Rick Story. That'd be pretty cool. I forgot who Story's. I know Story's fighting someone too. I totally forgot who it is. But yeah, I'm really liking what I see out of Larkin at this point. Ponzinibbio, I think at this point his scene's probably fun action fighter. I think he's put everything together as best as he can, but he just doesn't have the technique to go with it. Like, he can make up for technique with aggression, which is fine. He'll get wins in the UFC. He hits hard. He has a good chin, and he can grapple as well. Give him more just mid to lower 2 guys of the division. So I thought Antonio Carlos Jr. defeated Eddie Gordon by rear naked choke in the 3rd round. Carlos Jr., for one thing, looked huge for 185. Other thing, he beat Gordon everywhere. Outstruck the guy, out wrestled the guy, out jiu-jitsu'd the guy, out everything the guy. Once again, one of my egregious picks, and I gotta really start paying attention to Antonio Carlos Jr. moving forward, especially if he fights like mid-level middleweights. I think he can beat a good amount of them at this point. And that's probably who he should be fighting next. Really, it's just everywhere. You know, they'd get into extended clinch battles against the fence, switching positions and whatnot. And then, but ultimately, Carlos Jr. would be able to get Gordon down. Gordon really couldn't find his range. And quite honestly, Gordon has a 3-fight losing streak in the UFC and just hasn't looked very good. He's probably going to get cut from here on out. That's my guess. With Carlos Jr. though, I like what I see from him. He's big for the weight class. He's ever improving. And I think he can be a pretty good prospect for the division. You know, it's a division that's starving for blue chip prospects. I'd say like the best younger prospect, middleweight prospect in the UFC right now. I mean, if you want to say like a Derek Brunson or something like that, I'd say honestly it's probably like Elias Theodorou. You know, outside the UFC, I always say Brandon Aldi, best middleweight prospect out there, true blue chipper as well. But Antonio Carlos Jr., solid, man, just solid fighter. You know, I'm gotta keep my eye out for him moving forward. Next fight after that, Thiago Marreta Santos defeated Steve Bossi by head kick, 29 seconds in the first round. It started with a kick to the body, and then you can see that Bossi, he actually blocks his midsection, right? And then Santos goes for the kick to the head when he's blocking the midsection. Like, he puts his hands down to block any further kicks there, gets a head kick, and dude, he's just out cold. I mean, his head's like going this way, his arms are still up. I mean, it was just like, he looked like Roadkill or something. Honestly, like, if you ever seen like how Roadkill is on the ground, you know, he just kind of looked like that. You know, I don't know much about Bossi's future in the UFC. I know he retired. This is his fight coming out of retirement. He's 33 years old. I don't know if he has much of a role in the UFC. It's not Marreta. I don't know how to actually pronounce it. Is it Marreta? I think it's Marreta Santos. Not much of a prospect per se, but fun action fighter. I mean, he has just filled this niche of just fun. He has good kicks. He's pretty tough, you know. It's a good, fun action fighter for the UFC, you know. Who did he knock out in his last fight? Wasn't it like Andy Enns or something like that? Knocked him out. Knocked that one guy out with the body. That one Brazilian fighter, his name escapes me at the moment, with the body kick. Fun action fighter, man. You know, that's the same with Thiago Santos. Did really, you know, had a really competitive fight with Roy Hall. It's a just good, solid action fighter. You know, I can see him if they give him like mid-level guys that aren't, especially that aren't like primarily grapplers. I can see Marreta winning more than losing. It's when he gets like kind of higher up there, and especially guys I'll try to take down Santos, that I can see him losing. But yeah, just give Santos more like mid-level guys, you know, especially guys I'll strike. You know who you should get actually? You know who you should get? Sam Alvey. Do Sam Alvey Thiago Marreta Santos. Let's see if Santos can get one of his patented kicks, or if Alvey can get that patented left hook. Let's see it. I think that'd be a fun fight. Both of them are on good win streaks, knocking out opponents. Good stuff there. Unless Alvey might already have a fight scheduled. I don't remember, but I think that'll be a good fight. Next fight, I thought Hakon Diaz defeated Levan Makshvili by split decision. I'm just going to say this right now, and I kind of thought that it was Diaz that made the fight closer than it really should have been. Makshvili is still developing his MMA game. I mean, if you look at the fight, he has haymaker strikes and a clinch against the cage. And he can wrestle. He can take you down. He can't really hold. He's not great at holding his opponent down. But it's like he doesn't really have too much to his game at this point. You know? Especially as far as the UFC level goes. I thought, at the very least, you know, Hakon Diaz, I thought was just a more well-rounded guy. He actually showed to be the better wrestler here and the overall better grappler, which is good. And I guess that says something about Hakon Diaz, you know, because it's like, hey, this guy is primarily a wrestler, you know, Makshvili, and he out-wrestled the wrestler, you know. So that's a good sign. But yeah, Hakon Diaz, especially in the UFC, just does not have aesthetically pleasing fights. The guy is just a grinder by, like, he does. I don't think he has to be, but it's just, I don't know what it is. But yeah, the guy's just kind of pretty much a grinder. When I can't help but I'll see flashes of good stand-up, for example, or something else in his game, and I'm thinking, man, there's more to this guy than grinding. But that's what he chooses to do. You know, with Diaz, you know, he's under like that number 15 featherweight slot. Give him some more like 11 to 10, you know, 10 to 15 featherweights, you know. She's up there right now. You know, actually, give him Chaskelly. Because I believe Hakon Diaz was to fight Chaskelly. Do Chaskelly versus Hakon Diaz. If not, Hakon Diaz or Saad Bektik. You know, just give him some of these guys. See if he can't beat some of these up-and-coming prospects. With Levan, he should get more lower to mid-tier guys of the division. But yeah, just more lower to mid-tier guys of the division. Get on to prelims. Alex Cowboy Oliveira defeated Joe Merritt by unanimous decision. While this was the only fight I was actually really confident in picking correctly, Joe Merritt did a lot better against Alex Oliveira than I thought he would. He showed good athleticism, good range striking. You know, handled himself as well as he could on the ground. You know, so he, considering who he fought, Alex Oliveira, who's a pretty good prospect, Joe Merritt did well. And all things considered, I really wrote the guy off. I mean, like, flat out. And he looked like a guy that, at the very least, belonged in there. And yeah, that's really, like, as high a praise as I could probably give him at this point. Just because his record has been filled with like some really low level competition. But he looked good, you know, just solid. Couple mistakes here and there, but for the most part, yeah, he looked good. Would reverse position a lot against Oliveira. Interesting though with Oliveira, he's fighting at 170, but this is his third fight in 5 months. So I mean, but yeah, he didn't look great, but he did what he needed to do to win, which is good in itself. It looks like Oliveira too, he's trying, you know, his last fight against KJ Nunes, he's grappling more as well. So it's really interesting to see that Oliveira is trying to grapple more. He's not a great wrestler. I mean, he really only thinks like single leg takedown, maybe take the back, or double. And there's really not much else. And he'll just kind of like, he'll kind of muscle takedowns as well. Oliveira will. It's worked so far, but I don't know if it'll work. against higher level competition. Nonetheless, I think Oliveira should cut, fight at 155. Just fight more mid-level competition, really. Same with Joe Merritt, just more lower to mid-level competition of the division. So right after that, Leandro Silva defeated Luis Gonzalez by unanimous decision. Dang, this fight was not a great fight. Leandro Silva showed to be just the overall better grappler than Gonzalez. Gonzalez would actually get a couple takedowns or reverse the back take from Silva a couple times. Striking wise, Luis Gonzalez needs work on his striking pretty bad too. He looked just like he didn't know what he was doing out there. Leandro Silva, he's not the best striker, and he is a very low output striker. But, against lower level competition, he knows how to win, and he has enough physical tools to win. He's if he can, especially if he can get the fight to the ground, he's good at taking it back. That's one of his strongest parts of his game, actually. Really, for the most part, both of them should just fight more lower to mid-tier guys of whatever division they're going to find in next, which I'm guessing is 155 for both of them. So right after that, Tony Sims defeated Steve Montgomery by TKO in the first round. The scouting report that I did on both was Steve Montgomery, and he kind of showed it too. He's got some really good knees. If he can get inside or catch guys catch guys in his knee range if they're lunging in or something, he has some pretty devastating knees. If he can get his opponent into clinch and just start unloading knees, Montgomery, then he can do some work. His outside game, he has a pretty decent kicking game to keep guys outside. But the problem with Montgomery, and this is Sim's strength too, is that he allows a lot of his opponents inside of their, his opponent's punching range. The thing with Tony Sims, he doesn't really throw jabs either. No, watch the fight. He does have a boxing background. Watch the fight though. He doesn't actually throw too many jabs. He still connects with the power punches that he throws. But yeah, but Montgomery is a type of fighter that allows his opponent get in punching range, and that's the range that Tony Sims likes to work. So he catches him with a left hook on the jaw, and then as Montgomery gets up, he gets hit in the temple and just goes face plants, Sims hits hard. This guy hits hard. He can actually wrestle too. It's not a great wrestler, but he can wrestle. And he has good hands, and he has some power in his hands. I'd like to see Tony Sims at 155. He fought a much bigger opponent than Steve Montgomery, but still got the win. Goes to show just how heavy-handed the guy is. I think Sims, he's 29, but he's a solid, solid fighter. I don't really think of him as some great prospect or anything like that. I think his ceiling might be a Ross Pearson type. Maybe higher. If it is higher, it'd be an Al Iaquinta type. A guy who can box, relatively heavy-handed, but he can also wrestle as well. But I don't know if he reaches that far. I can just see him being more of an action fighter at 155. No problem with that, though. I want to see this guy in action fights. Steve Montgomery, this guy has to work on his defense. He just does not have good defense. More lower level competition for him. And finally, Sirwan Kakai defeated Danny Martinez by unanimous decision. I don't really say this was an egregious pick, just in the sense that, at the very least, Danny Martinez showed what I thought he'd do. And that's just be very aggressive. The only thing is, though, he got out. this is the problem with Danny Martinez. He can wrestle, but he tends to get out-wrestled. Watch the Scott Jorgensen fight. It's Danny Martinez pushing forward, throwing punches, and actually connecting against Jorgensen. What happens, though? He gets out-wrestled. Sharon Kakai, solid fighter. He's kind of limited, though. If you look at his strike selection, he only threw, he didn't throw much outside of, say, a jab cross. Or was that? Yeah, he didn't have, this huge strike selection. But what he had was good, solid. And he can wrestle a bit, too. So, he's a solid fighter. I wouldn't necessarily call him, a blue-chip prospect or anything like that. But definitely good enough to get wins in the UFC. He should fight lower to mid-tier guys of the division. Danny Martinez, maybe because he took the fight on short notice, he won't be cut. But I think there's 3 losses in a row. Might get cut after this fight. So that's it for my post-fight analysis for UFC Fight Night 70. If you have any comments, just leave them below. That's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.